Welcome back to Small Trees. This video is going to have a lot of information, but I'll try to condense it and make it easy to digest. I had a busy day filming a lot of work, so you can expect a lot of good information in the coming days. Leave me a comment if you'd like to see any specific topics covered, and please subscribe if you enjoy what you're seeing. This is a tree that I've been excited to work on for a while. It's been growing freely in the ground for about 2 growing seasons, and it's gotten pretty big as you can tell. It's about 15 feet tall right now, but before I can dig it, I need to cut it down to 6 or 8 inches tall. This tree was planted through a wooden plank 2 years ago, and that plank has never been removed. This is going to be the first round of root work that the tree's ever gotten. As you'll soon be able to tell, it is much easier to dig a tree that's been grown with this method when compared to a tree that's been allowed to grow roots straight down. When you start out with a shallow root base, all you really need to do is make a cut around the perimeter and then get one good pass underneath to clip any small roots that found their way deeper into the soil. The tree should then come out of the ground easily. After bare rooting the tree, we can see that while it does have several long roots, they grow mostly horizontally instead of vertically. If you look closely, you can see the original roots for this tree. They've been cut off from the rest of the tree by the wooden plank, but they're still visible. In an attempt to get better nabari, I notched the trunk and added root hormone in a few places and then covered with moss. It doesn't look like it worked, so we'll do a few root grafts once we're finished working the tree. First things first, I'm going to remove all downward growing roots as well as any crossing roots, and then remove the wooden plank and reduce these longer roots closer to the trunk. As you will be able to tell, getting all the roots on the same plane is much easier if you've started the roots off properly as a seedling. Notice that the older root cuts were made facing upwards. For aesthetic purposes, they should probably face downwards, but they look fine when they're healed. For example, the root on the right here was an upward facing cut, and it looks fine. Now that I've reduced the roots to my satisfaction, I have identified 3 areas that could use a root graft. 2 of them are close to the trunk, and 1 of them will be used to make an otherwise boring root a little more interesting. We are going to use thread grafting as the technique today. First, you must select a seedling that has suitable roots for the area you want to graft. You must then remove any primary branching that might get in the way as you thread the seedling through the trunk of the parent tree. There is a way around removing these branches, but we will get into that in another video. Next, you must select a drill bit that is both long enough to make it all the way through the tree and is also slightly larger than the width of the seedling with its buds. You do not want to rub these buds off because you want the seedling to grow as much as possible to make the graft fuse as fast as possible. We will use this bit because it will accommodate the seedling without rubbing the buds off. When thread grafting, always make sure that you drill from the side that you want the roots, or branch if you're doing a branch graft, to emerge from. This is because the entrance wound when using a drill is much cleaner than the exit wound. You want to drill slowly and try to avoid burning the cambium layer. As you can see, I had some difficulty with this first graft, and I realized that it was easier for me to drill a smaller hole with a smaller bit first, and then finish with the larger bit. In order to make the exit wound cleaner, you could place some electrical tape over the area where the bit should exit, and watch it closely as you drill very slowly. When you see the bit start to hit the tape, remove the bit and finish the cut from the exit side with a sharp knife. Here, I am using a grafting knife to clean both the entrance and exit wound. This is important because better contact between this cambium layer and the cambium layer of the seedling will increase the chance of success. Next, we thread the selected seedling through the hole we drilled. It's best here to expose the cambium of the seedling where it will make contact with the cambium of the parent tree before you thread it, but I did not do that here. Be careful to preserve the buds as you do this. Arrange the seedling so that the roots are oriented how you want, and then wedge a twig or a small piece of wire into the hole with the seedling so that the seedling is in contact with the top of the hole. This is because the top of a wound will callus faster than the bottom, which means that our graft will begin to fuse more quickly. Now that the graft is secure, cover both the entrance and the exit with putty. The putty will keep the graft union from drying out while also protecting it from water entering the union. If water were to make it in here, that would mean failure for the graft. I've already put a lot of work into the nabari of this tree, so I don't want it to go to waste when I put it back into the ground. My solution was to screw it to a board so that any new roots have to grow laterally before they can grow downwards. Every couple of years, when root work is done, I can just cut everything below the board and put it back in the ground. It's important that the seedling get plenty of light and not get shaded out by the parent tree. For this reason, I'm wiring this seedling so that it will face upwards and get all the sunshine it wants. Now the tree goes into the ground to grow freely. I planted the tree pretty shallow in order to show off the nabari, but after the video I added about another inch of soil to protect the grafts as they grow. I'll check in on them later this summer, but there's no rush to separate them. It may be next year before I do. This tree is well on the path to an outstanding nabari. I hope to feature it in many videos going forward. As always, thank you very much for watching. Until next time.